Hey y'all, it's your girl Stephanie and this is Wrestling in Color Podcast. Make sure you thumbs up this video. Make sure you I mean, if you're gonna thumbs down it, I guess. Thumbs up, please. Make sure you subscribe. This is important. I want organic subscribers. I want people who like what I'm doing to subscribe to what I'm doing, right? And follow and turn on the notification. Make sure you follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter. I'm trying to get my social media in order. Also, I would like to say, I'm going to just throw it out there and I might put a little link to it in the somewhere if you're interested. I started a new podcast called Shit the Sugar. It's political pop culture podcast, but with a small fee. And with that fee, I will use to circumvent on my other platforms and other projects that I want to get into and start and keep busy and things like that. And kind of, Wrestling in Color is like my baby. So I do want to do a couple things to spruce up the place. So if you're interested, head on over, hit the link. I'm going to put it somewhere so you can hit it. Shit the Sugar Podcast. It is a small fee to access the podcast and access my thoughts and all the information and good information and useful information that you will want, right? And help a sister out just a little bit to further my endeavors with that, with things that I want to do. So I appreciate it. Also, there is a one-time donation if you do want to donate. I'm just saying, all I'm going to do is take the money and put it back into my projects that I'm doing here, right? Okay, boom. I'm going to leave that alone. I want to say hey to my new subbies. How you guys doing? Appreciate you coming on over. Have a seat. Take your shoes off, please. And make sure you hit that subscribe and turn on that notification because when I upload, it's going to be something you're going to want to hear. I've noticed that when I do reviews on like pay-per-view, y'all don't really care about none of that. So I'm not going to do reviews anymore. I'm just going to, if you follow me on my Twitter or my Facebook or my Instagram for Wrestling in Color Podcast, I'm just going to put my picks for the pay-per-views and maybe touch on it when I do my actual topics, topics that I'm going to go into. You guys love when I focus in on a certain topic. And give my issue and opinion and what I think is going on. So I'm just going to keep that. I found my niche in terms of what I want to give here at Wrestling Color Podcast. So with that being said, what are we talking about? Well, I woke up today and happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth to my Black African American listeners. Juneteenth is the African American Black Negro holiday. If you are not aware, everyone else, what Juneteenth is. Juneteenth, I'm gonna give you the quick synopsis, is when the letter reached, when the news reached Galveston, Texas, to let the slaves know that they were free. The slaves did not know they were free for 2 entire years since the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. Now, that's not to say that the post office was that fucking terrible, but it took 2 years to get the information down to the family members and the slave community down there. Once they got it, they said deuces, chucked up the deuces. Great migration kicked in, and then after that, we went into the Reconstruction era, and all of that. I can give you super good information over on the Shit the Sugar Podcast. Boom. Here we're talking about wrestling. So, with that being said, let's get started. I was on the internet minding other people's business, and something called Speak Out movement was popping. So I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Apparently, Fight Club Pro, which I think is like a British promotion. British wrestling is very specific. I don't care for like NXT UK or nothing like that because they gonna give you like real grappling, like Randy Orton type style wrestling, which can touch and go and be pretty boring, but whatever. So Fight Club Pro, I guess somebody decided that they wanted to tell their story yesterday, and they started this hashtag, and they telling their stories, and it's not looking good for a lot of people because on the dawn of the Me Too movement, well, we in the throes of that. We now have the Speak Out, and then it seems like the Black Lives Matter, and when Black people tend to uprise and be vocal about what they want, everybody gets on that momentum and go ahead and say what they got going on too. That's just what I noticed. Okay, and I know it's a couple other things, but this is not the platform to speak on that. Sugar's platform. So I went and had to go find an article because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So this article from Ringside News said many of the independent scene has been called out for sexual abuse, and it started with David Starr, who's now, I guess he done got his ass up out of Dodge. Joey Ryan, another superstar, has managed to stay extremely popular despite not going to either AEW or WWE. However, Ryan might have to answer a few questions because an individual has come up with their story about how the Impact Wrestling star abused them. Jordan Devlin also was accused. Twitter user Corinne Mink posted a note recalling an incident with Joey Ryan. Mink had gone to pick up Ryan from the airport, and on the way back she says he molested her. Mink then confided in the promoter in charge of Wrestling Pro, who offered their support by apologizing and promising her that they will never book the King of Sleaze again. However, the promotion ended up booking Ryan on their show a year and a half later. So this is what she said. She said, "Hey y'all, one time I was picking up Joey Ryan from the airport and he like groped my thigh and chest while I was driving. Tried to get me to go to his hotel room and then kissed me to convince me to do so. I told the promoter of the show, who's also the man responsible for a good amount of my training because I was attending his school at the time. I was doing the airport pickup for about this, and she was doing the airport pickup for him, and she told him about the situation. He said he was so sorry, that he felt terrible that he put her in danger like that. He promised me he would never book Joey Ryan again. Lo and behold, a year and a half later, he books Joey Ryan. I can't believe I trusted him." Then she went on to say, "I see this is getting more attention than I anticipated. I wanted to make it clear. I was way more devastated by the actions of Wrestling Pro than Joey. I was too scared to say the name of the school and company before." Pound speaking out. Joey Ryan is known for his sexual innuendos in wrestling. However, that won't help his case now that a person has made such a heavy allegation. I don't know, but that's what's been thrown out there. So, let's see who all is being thrown, because it's not just the British wrestling scene that's being flipped on their fucking head. It's a lot. And some of these, I'm like, he did it. Yeah, he did it. Yeah, probably. We got Matthew Gregg of Botchamania is signal boosting the stories of victims on his Twitter account. Exposed Wrestling's Twitter is also sharing stories. The original accusation of the David Starr, he's being accused of sexual assault. Mikey Whiplash, accused, not to be confused with ECW star Mikey Whipwreck. Piper Niven, Viper, confirming Whiplash allegations. Longtime referee Mark Paz Perry, accused of sending unsolicited explicit images to female wrestlers and trainees. Further allegations against that referee. PBW owner Ross Watson, accused of pursuing and sexting underage girls. Now that one, that's going to really get your ass. Wrestling trainee Tony Shivers accused his former wrestler and ICW employee Stephen Hughes of abuse. Natalie Sykes accuses Legrero of unwanted harassment and manipulative behavior. Leanne Marie alleges that referee John Parker forced himself upon her after making it clear she wasn't interested. Max accuses James Finn of sexual harassment. Jake Long accuses James Finn of sexual harassment. Former OTT talent Russell Dempster accused of being sexual aggressive and sending unsolicited, explicit photos. Mariah Lay, I'm sorry, let me put my glasses on. Mariah May shared stories of being manipulated by her trainer and an attempted sexual assault by another wrestler. Further allegations for David Starr. Calliam Newman details the abuse and manipulation he suffered at wrestling school from 12 years old. Pyro accused of sending inappropriate messages to a 14-year-old. Paul Littlewood accused of impregnating an underage girl. Yo. Debbie Keitel accuses ICW employee Alexander Dean of manipulating and harming her during training after turning down his advances. Millie McKenzie details her secret relationship with Travis Banks that she accused of being emotionally abusive and manipulative. Holly Barlow accused Xander Cooper of manipulation and Abel Stevens of sexual harassment. Sierra Lexton accuses Jack Sexsmith of aggressive, unwanted sexual advances. Further allegations against Jack Sexsmith. Josh Bodum accused of attempting to solicit a 13-year-old girl. Natalie Weil accused Thomas Jeffords of being abusive and manipulative throughout their relationship. Alex Sane accused of getting a 13-year-old girl drunk and having sex with her. Oh, Lord. And it goes on and on. Jimmy Havoc's ex details a turbulent and emotional abusive relationship. Jack Gallagher accused of aggressively making unwanted sexual advances to a woman. Cases from outside the UK, y'all. Jim Cornette and wife Stacy accused of abusing positions of power whilst in OVW for sexual favors. Also threats sent to those who decline said favors. Matt Riddle accused of choking and assaulting a woman who denied his sexual advances. Brian Fury accused of unwanted advances and physical contact toward a trainee. Liz Savage accuses David Lagana of sexual assault. Now, I'm gonna read one of these and I'm really disgusted. I'm gonna read let's see. Pyro. I'm not shocked, but I'm just, it's sad that this is what's going on in the wrestling world. No, I'm not shocked because this is the same people that fucking haze and gotta fuck people over, and it's all of this fucking, you gotta pay your dues. And I wouldn't be shocked if some of the women back there was sucking dick to get on TV or whatever they had to do. So she said, very scary doing this, but I don't want anyone else to have to go through this, to what I did. Things need to change. Things didn't end with Jake. I began training under Travis Banks when I was 17. We had a secret 1-year relationship, which he wouldn't speak to. All right. That's really sickening. Amy Alosi, I don't know who she is, but she's a British wrestler. She also wrote a detailed account of sexual assault. And, listen, Peter Doom said, and he's disgusted, he has a daughter. Fucking Big E came out, said how disgusted he was as well. This is what she said. She said, I've been too afraid to speak about this for a long time. I was in a relationship with someone who harassed me, who assaulted me, who showed up to my house unwanted, with unwanted gifts, uninvited, who I've had an argument with about consent. I had to learn the ins and outs of gray rape and learn that rape is more than just a violent act. It can be a manipulative scheme. If it feels wrong, it is wrong. I've learned that too late. You might not say no or stop because you are afraid of an argument afterwards. Or they might not love you anymore. Or they might fuck you over in wrestling. It's power. I also learned that unfortunately there's not a lot you can do to prove it. And tried to move on from it and tried to heal myself. Of course our relationship wasn't perfect and we hurt each other. That's what happens in relationships when you're dumb and young and you don't know anything about life. But this stuff is inexcusable. You stay quiet because you love wrestling with your whole heart. You owe the business your life. You want to be a good role model, someone for the younger generations to look up to. You want to be that light that shines through, a ray of positivity. I've always thought I was that person, but I was keeping this to myself and listening to many other girls' stories and telling them to speak out, that I believe them and support them, and to not let it affect them. I was a hypocrite. I was hiding my own story. We as women should not be afraid to speak out. If someone who wrongs us or someone who may have leverage and take you out of the business, he will harass me verbally and physically in training in front of the trainer and trainees to an extent that the trainer had to pull him aside and tell him to stop or he's out. I no longer felt safe and seek trainings elsewhere while I healed. My friends cast me out. I no longer felt welcome because of the person he painted me to be. More power because he was a somebody and I was a nobody. I was fearful for my career and my life as I dealt with this all mentally and thought that I should just stay quiet and it will go away. But it didn't, and it never did. That was until now. That was until I seen a tweet that made me shake with rage. The savior of Irish wrestling wasn't going to let this go on in the locker room. He seen the way the other men treated other women. And it was unacceptable. I was shaken to my core, heartbroken, confused, sick to my stomach. I debated over whether to speak out, and at that moment I was done with wrestling, and I would rather leave than cause controversy. No one's gonna believe me? What if people just told me he was young and dumb to get over it? But I have realized now that I'm worth more than that. So I reached out to people to tell them my story. I decided I'm going to be a good role model and I'm going to stand up for what I preach. I have a lot of younger people who look up to me, who I look out for, and I hope will never have to experience something like this in their lifetime. That's why it's my duty to speak out, and I'm done with wrestling. This is how I want to go, on a truthful and honest note. Scotty Davis is not their savior of Irish wrestling. I don't want this to be a passing of the torch. I can't sit back and let this eat me away. I don't believe in cancel culture. Maybe people can change. This is what I hope. I hope that he has gotten help for these troubles in his life. I hope that he's gotten help for his anger. I hope that maybe in the future he can be a better man and a better person. I hope even now he has bettered himself. But I can't sit back and watch this movement go on and not share my story. And thus, this woman shared her story to the many stories that have been shared. You know, I'm not going to be long-winded, but I've experienced sexual harassment. I've been in positions where not only could I have been raped, but I also probably could have been murdered. And I'm not, I'm laughing at it now, but when I look back, I'll be like, what the fuck was I thinking? But in the same sense, in the same token, you cannot take advantage of someone. Rape, whether it's a male or female, is one of the most. It's just like someone breaking into your house and rubbing their balls all over the place, and then you go in, you violate it. They've been in your house, you can't get comfortable. Imagine someone invades your body, and they're all over you, and you just ride, and you're just in living hell. And they just, the power. It's just like, oh my God. I just want to go to work. I just want to enjoy my job. Why do I have to deal with this? Some got to give, folks. Some got to give. Some got to give. Jim Cornette, he's going to respond to it only the way Jim Cornette's going to respond, and bitches and the dicks, and he real crass and nasty with it. Candy Cartwright said, I'm posting this because I've been sad so long. I didn't realize what he did to me was not okay. I realize now. Reading these other brave women's stories that I can be afraid no more and have to speak out. Back in May of 2018, I was riding with Matt Riddle and a few other wrestlers. During the van ride, when the 3 other wrestlers had fallen asleep, Matt asked me to hop on his dick. When I refused, although we had previously been together, I was incredibly uncomfortable in that setting. When I said no, he grabbed me by my throat, choked me, and said, "What if I just made you?" I ended up giving him oral sex, praying someone wouldn't wake up. To get out of having intercourse with him, it was incredibly humiliating. It's never okay to put your hands on a woman. It's also not okay to not listen to what she says. Let me tell you how fucking explosive that is. Now, when you got all of this, remember Velveteen Dream? Remember when he was talking to some underage kids? Now, I mean, I can't even say that ain't happened. When you got some explosive shit like this going on, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? First of all, Matt Riddle's married and he has daughters. She 2018, he just started in NXT. Man, listen, Jim Cornette. I want to hear Jim Cornette's what they got going on, and then I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna give my thoughts on it. And like they're gonna have to rectify this. You have to rectify this. You're gonna have to. They use their place of power to hurt many people. No one wants to speak up because of his position in wrestling, but this is extremely common among OVW alum. I may be very vague yesterday about Jim Cornette in the face of current events. I feel I need to clarify and speak up. During my first year in the business, his wife Stacy attempted to groom me. Let me pause there. When someone's grooming someone, they're literally getting them prepared to have sex with them, assault them, or do whatever it is that they want them to do. So when you see someone focus in on a particular child or a particular teenager, a lot of this happens in football camps, gymnastics, in sports and stuff. A lot of that grooming takes place in classrooms when the teacher gets fixated on the student, and the student's a kid, and the student's young, and the teacher an older guy likes you. I get it. But when it's time to crack that gift open, and the grooming has been complete, you are now stepping into a territory where your motherfucking ass need to go to jail. She approached me via DM, he goes on to say, sent me lewd photos I never asked for, implied protection from the Kentucky Commission, stating he was a family friend, and told me she was going to fuck me as if I didn't have a choice. My experience with them is tame compared to others. When Jim Cornette was booking at OVW, if you wanted a contract on his show, you had to perform sexual acts on his wife. Many times with him watching, this has happened many times with many people. A close friend of mine was groomed and basically brainwashed by them for years. When he finally escaped, Stacy went to great lengths to not only terrorize him, but to actively have the other wrestlers physically assault him. I was one of them. She sent me pictures, show ties of his has been slashed, and bragging about setting him up to lose his job, his apartment, his car, all because he escaped an extreme toxic relationship and didn't want anything to do with them. Stacy bragged about being able to call the Kentucky Commission to give him targets, and he was a family friend, and if she wanted, she could turn his attention to anyone licensed in the state to potentially hurt them and sometimes ruin their careers. When he says cult of Cornette, it's because he has a history of taking advantage of greenhorns, using his powers and position as a booker for OVW in order to fulfill his wife's sexual desires. This is disgusting. This is absolutely fucking disgusting. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna leave it here. They're gonna have to deal with this. Honestly, Jim Cornette, at the way that man, he's like a fucking racist. He's sexist as fuck. He's nuts. He's sitting there yelling and cussing. I know it's wrestling. It's a business. But, it's people's lives. And the way they be handling this shit is terrible. WWE's notorious for it. We haven't seen AEW. They just got started. Now we see, British wrestling. Let the ladies wrestle. Let the ladies wrestle. I remember watching wrestling back in the day. And, it never dawned on me the way those women were set up and put in positions, what they had to probably do backstage to get on the stage. Casting couch is not just in Hollywood. You got a casting couch in every single industry. And if you want to get ahead and you got the look, or if you that damn desperate, or if you just, you feel like you stuck and you've been working so hard, you might lay on that casting couch with some ugly motherfucker and do some things that you normally wouldn't want to do. And you got to hold that and not say anything about it. It's terrible. It's terrible. This is disgusting. This is disgusting. And you know what? Speak out. Speak out. Bring them to the table. If it happens 2 years, 3 years, there's no statute of limitations on sexual violence. Bring the motherfuckers out and let something happen. Let something go on. Clean up wrestling. Because if you got a daughter or a son and they want to be wrestlers, they shouldn't have to deal with the shit that's allowed. Whether it's hazing, sexual assault. After I read what that damn Texas name, and he was oh my goodness, you know what I'm talking about, the APA, with old boy, damn, I forgot his name, y'all know what I'm talking about, the way he was fucking hazing and fucking people over, that man shouldn't even be on TV. Somebody should have beat his ass a long time ago. JBL, the way that grown ass man was working over them young wrestlers. And I had on the previous on the episode with Boys Will Be Boys. And this right here is not acceptable. You don't do that to people. You don't do that to people. So I hope they bring this to the table and clear it up. I don't give a fuck what Jim Cornette got to say, because he says enough. You went nuts because Becky decided to go have a kid. What the hell was she damn thinking? She's supposed to just wrestle and let her ovaries and shit dry the fuck up for your entertainment? You cracked the joke with a white wrestler about chicken in Africa, and then you don't understand why you got removed from the damn promotion. It's just a joke. Everybody's a snowflake. No, you call people snowflakes when they don't laugh at your fucking jokes. And y'all not going to stop till somebody bust your shit to the white meat. This is disgusting and it needs to be dealt with. And I'm going to pay attention and see if it's dealt with. Because it's just not British wrestling. It's just not, whatever. It's in American wrestling. Matt Riddle, what she described is absolutely insane. And it's explosive. Because he's married with kids. And you sitting here telling me this man choked you and you had to suck his dick? Because why? And this is 2018. So he cheating on his fucking wife? What? Man, listen. Jordan Devlin just came out to explain that he ain't doing it. But I don't know, y'all. I don't know. They're gonna have to do something about that. But I'm gonna leave it right here. This is Wrestling Color Podcast. What y'all think about the speak out movement in pro wrestling? Because it's not just gonna start it's gonna ripple. It's gonna be more. It's going to be more coming out, and don't be shocked when it hits your favorite wrestler. Don't be shocked. Hit me in the comments. I'm on my road to 300 slowly but surely. We're going to keep it on going. I'm Stephanie's Wrestling Color. Make sure you subscribe. All right. Later.